Ever wondered how a lot of YouTubers make amazing videos using the DJI Osmo Pocket 3? Well, I'm about to tell you the secret. And plus, I have a bonus tip at the end that will help you save all these settings so you can keep different profiles, different presets, and have multiple settings for different scenario, but that will come towards the end of this video. When I got my DJI Osmo Pocket 3, the first thing I did was to swipe to the right and turn on Pro mode. Turning on Pro mode allowed me see the different other settings that I would be able to make sure my footage are top notch. The first part I want you to go to is the white balance. Now I moved my white balance from auto white balance to manual just because I want to be able to control my white balance settings. Now if you're not sure what your white balance is around you, a good and a quick hack for you to do is to turn on the auto white balance, take a picture or like capture the environment you're in, and then switch it back to manual so you can lock in that Kelvin, but I'm shooting at 5600 Kelvin. Your normal daylight Kelvin is around 54 to I think 56, so I use 56 and it has worked amazing for me. So you want to fix that up first, fix the white balance, and then you want to go into your color profile. Now the good thing with the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 is that it shoots in both dlog-M, normal, and HLG, and all of them shoots in 10 bits, which means you can actually now have ability to push those footages to how you like. Here's a video that I shot using the normal profile and the dlog-M. There will be some slight differences, especially with the highlights and the control, and that's because with the dlog-M you can still push and process the highlights the way you want, but with the normal there is really that limitation to what you can do. If you're in a rush and you don't need to, the normal profile still gives you a lot of beautiful, amazing footage. But with the dlog-M, you can control as much as possible. Now, the good thing is that DJI also has a correction lot that you can download. I'll leave a link in the description. And you can use that to correct your footage from the dlog-M and convert it to either to convert the color grading. And what I've noticed is that just by using the correction lot, almost 70% of your job is done. So you don't really have to do too much after you've been able to do that. Now you can also add more color, and if you're really into color grading, you can adjust most of those settings to suit your look. But just with your little basic color correction idea and contrasts, play with the highlights, you will be able to get a smooth, amazing looking footage with no stress. When you're done with that, what I want you to look at is the exposure, and I also have my exposure as being manual. Now, while I want this exposure being manual, it's because I shoot in 4K 25, and your shutter speed should be twice your frame rate to give it that kind of natural cinematic look. So if you look at the shutter speed there, I've put mine to 1/50, because I shoot in 25, so 25 times 2, exactly. So now you have 50 there, and for my E-meter, I'm putting my EV meter around minus 0.3 if I'm shooting on normal. Then if I'm shooting with dlog-M, I keep it at minus 0.7. No, when I'm shooting in dlog-M, I put it in minus 0.3, and when I'm shooting with my normal mode for the color profile, I put it in minus 0.7. Now, this gives me the kind of best looking image. Yours might differ for you, but this is the setting that I use, and it gives me amazing image. If you look over to the right there, you're going to see the ISO. Now, the ISO is basically the amount of light you want to come through the lens. In a controlled environment, you want to keep it as low as possible. So if you're filming in a studio where you have constant source of light, you want to keep the ISO as low as possible, around 50 or 100 based on the camera or so you're using. But for the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, I would advise you keeping it 50 to about 3200. I think it's better to just have footage that people can actually see, and that way you can drop it a little bit, as opposed to have footage that is super dark and you can't really do anything with it. So just putting it around that 50 to 3200 range when it's on manual. And if you decide that you want to shoot in auto, the camera will just adjust and do its thing. But I keep mine in manual because I want to have proper control of everything I'm shooting. If you look a little bit further down, you're going to see focus mode. So we have 3 different types of focus modes. The first one I'm just going to toggle on is the continuous focus mode, which is what's happening here now. You can see most of everything is in frame. There might not be so much background blur you get just because of the sensor size, but you can see almost everything in frame. Now, if I switch over to the single focus mode, now this is single focus mode, and now just my face in this particular spot would be in focus. I don't know how great is looking out there, but that's how the single focus, it's going to primarily focus on one item, whatever you select in that frame. And you can use this for dolly shots, you can use this for zoom in and out shots like this, and they make your filming look really, really beautiful. And while for the product showcase, this is the product showcase mode. You can see when I move something close, it blurs the background, so that item or the product that you're showcasing will be in focus, and once it's out, everything comes back, so it focuses on what is mostly closed. This would be very good for product reviews. You can use that and do reviews about different smartphones or any gadgets. As long as it's close enough, it's going to highlight that object and it will blur out whatever is behind it. And just beside it, you're going to see the image adjustment. Now, this is where you're going to be able to control your sharpness and noise reduction. By default, it's going to come at 0 and 0, but for the sharpness, I'll actually advise you to drop it down to about -2, and for the noise reduction, I keep mine in -1. I prefer adding more sharpness in post. That's when I'm editing, and I wouldn't really like the camera to, you know, add a lot of its own sharpness for me. And also for the noise reduction, it just makes, I don't know, it just works and makes my videos look a little bit better. So I would advise you step those down. You can play around with it and see which works best for your scenario, but that is what I do for my own settings in the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. Another good thing about the DJI Osmo is that it works pretty decent in low light. It's not the best, and you can't compare it to high-end cameras like full frames, but it does pretty well, and it has a low light mode, so you can turn on the low light mode and shoot while still in DLX. The footage looks really good and it's not terrible. If you like to see a video whereby we're just going to focus on the low light features and filming a lot of things in low light, so I can tell you the best thing for that, just leave a comment and I'll make sure I make that video for you. Which leads us to almost one of the most important parts that you also need to pay attention in, which is the resolution and your frame rate. Now, Europe uses a frame rate of 25 frames per second for TV and video, I think, while in the US and other regions they use about 30. So let's say you're filming at 24 frames per second, it can give you that, you know, cinematic look and feel, and can make the audience feel more connected to the person filming, because that is a view that they are used to. I mostly switch in between 24 and 25 frames per second. I find like both of them look really well for me, but I film mostly at 25 frames per second, and I've also experimented a lot with 24 frames per second. So putting them in either of that will give you that cinematic look that you're looking for. It will make your videos look really, really nice. And if you look over there at the top right, you can see the orientation in which you're shooting in. 16:9 means you're shooting landscape, which can be used for YouTube, like what you're seeing now. And you can move it into 1:1, which would be used for like the vertical shots that you can use on Instagram or social media. Now, the bonus part I talked about earlier, which is saving preset. Now, you've created all of these customizations and you don't want someone else to mistakenly tamper with them, having you have to go throughout this entire video, starting from the start, trying to figure what it is. What you can do is, if you scroll down and you click on the human icon there, you have the ability to actually now save and create a preset. You can just click the plus and you can name it what you want to name it, confirm, and it's going to save that preset for you. And whenever you need to come back to use this preset, all you have to do is go back there, click on it, put that preset, and all those settings will be saved. This will save you a ton of time, and you can save preset for your B-rolls, for your A-rolls, or even like your vlogging preset. You can just have that saved and then you don't have to bother about it anymore. It will save you tons and tons of time. If you'd like to see a deeper video about how I have my settings set specifically for vlogging and some of the tips and tricks that will help you present and create better, amazing vlogs with DJI Osmo Pocket 3, I have a video about that right over here. And after watching this, you can just click on that and see and listen to some of the tips and tricks I use when creating vlogs like this. In the description, I also have a video that I shot entirely with the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. For a vlog, there were lots of low lights in those scenarios and different shots I got with it, and all of that was shot using the DJI Pocket 3.